This is episode 3 of the Unstaged Success podcast, and we have with us the well renowned, she's an expert mindset coach. She's helped wealthy individuals add billions, not millions, billions of additional sales volume to their businesses. So, do we have questions for you? Kathleen Black in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
First off, I'd like to just learn a little bit about how you grew up and how you got into this business.
Yeah, I mean, I always joke I have 9 lives, but it's probably more than that by now. So, I mean, I think like a lot of people who are very successful in the entrepreneurial world, I grew up with some challenges, which I think a lot of people relate to. So I left home younger. My family's originally from Peterborough, so east of Toronto, both sides, but we moved into GTA and I left home younger, made my way to university, had the surprise opportunity to have my son in my second year of university. And I kind of made a decision, I can do this, I can figure it out. And it was really interesting because looking back, I always thought, as long as I'm organized, as long as I work hard, the harder I work, I'll get more resources, I'll be more successful, life will get easier. And it's ironic because eventually I got into real estate, I got into coaching, and I was around a lot of other people who believe the same. Like if we work harder, we'll get more resources, life will get easier. But the secret nobody was talking about was that life wasn't getting easier, right? The more successful we got, the less successful we actually felt. And it wasn't just me, it was almost everybody I was working with. And that's where there was this kind of turnaround of saying, how do you go from chaotic success to actual calm? And I think that's why I work with a lot of elite achievers, and I'm really focused on performance and mindset, because to me, it's not enough to be successful and hustle all day in and out. Like that's not the life I want. So a lot of adversity allowed me to see, no, it's not work harder. Like that's not enough. That's not how, it's not that simple. Let's just say it that way.
I love that. And this is, kind of what I'm experiencing in my own personal life. So I'm so happy that my husband and I will be present at your summit that's coming up in November. We can't wait to be there. A few questions that we have prepared are, you're a person of huge influence. If you could inspire a movement that would bring the most amount of good to the most amount of people, what would that be?
I love this question because I think right now, I mean, what I love to do is shift. I love to support myself and other people shifting in their lives. And because I've done that many times, I've worked with thousands of people who have done that. To me, that's just everyday life. It's like we can shift, we can change. So the biggest thing we're shifting into right now is a focus on impact. I'm not financially driven, I'm impact driven. And I find a lot of women in the leadership space, entrepreneurial space, have been led to believe, oh, maybe your product's not good enough or your message isn't good enough, and that's why you're not on the big stages. That's not true at all. Or people with diverse backgrounds, right, who are not Caucasian or white, are led to believe, well, when it's good enough, they'll put you on the stage. And again, in my experience, that's not true whatsoever. I built my own stage, Ultimate Team Summit, for a reason, because I wasn't going to wait to be on other people's stages. Like, I'll build my own. Like, we'll build our own event. So my biggest thing right now is ensuring not just myself, but other people who have messages of more conscious leadership, more abundant leadership, are having the ability to impact others. So the most important thing I want to do is help people into self-leadership, because I think that's when I think the era before us grew up and kind of, okay, I'm a victim of something. Somebody did something to me. I was hurt. I was upset. Now I want to be a victor. So it's like someone had power over me. Now I have power over somebody else. But it doesn't stop there. Like the third level is when you go into that consciousness space, like a sage, a seer, a coach, a leader, where I now have power over myself. I lead myself, and therefore I can help others instead of try to get ahead by pushing them down.
Right.
So that's my most important life's work that I want to do, because I find when people realize you can do life differently and you can think differently, your whole world changes. You can pick whatever you want, right? As a parent, a leader, a friend, a partner. And to me, that's where it's at. That's the source of things.
Absolutely. It also opens up more doors, do you find, when you start looking at life a little differently, when it's not so self-motivated, but more like, okay, how can I help you? As opposed to just, okay, what's in it for me? Can you give us your favorite life lesson quote? Can you share how that was relevant to you in your life?
You know what? There's so many different life lesson quotes, but I think I love Walt Whitman. I love a lot of his quotes, but he has a famous quote that says, "I contradict myself very well. I contradict myself. I'm vast. I contain multitudes." And I love this because it's the idea of curiosity. It's the idea of saying, "Hey, maybe what I knew 2 years ago is still right, but there's other things that are right." And I'm so fascinated by if I can hold two opposing arguments and consider both of them, it's like I can be kind of this shapeshifter of connecting with people in the world. And I think that's what great entrepreneurs do, right? We want to understand perspective. So
Yes.
it's again moving away from the traditional hyper individualistic, like
Right.
I win or you win, there's only
Yeah.
so much business, into wait a minute, this is not how the world is done. And we can collaborate as a community, which is
Absolutely.
exciting. So I love that quote for many, many reasons. But
Excellent.
yeah.
None of us are able to achieve success on our own.
Yeah.
Who helped you?
You know what? That's a good question because over the years, a lot of people said, Kathleen, we know your story and you're all about mentorship, but it doesn't sound like you had a lot of help, which is actually kind of true. Like until the last couple of years, I haven't really felt like I had a lot of support or mentorship in the industry. It's really been a lot of against the tide, or against the current to build things up. But I've always been an avid reader. I listen to audiobooks. I'm always listening. And I think a lot of my biggest mentors are people who are already passed away, like just people who influence me. Now I have some people in the industry who have definitely made sure, like, hey, she's a speaker, like she needs to be on your stage, what's happening? And they're advocating because it's time. It's time. I think as leaders, we have a responsibility, right? Like I have a community of people we coach, and I have a responsibility when I go on stage to represent them, not to represent me. So we've made a shift now that we actually have a commitment. We won't go on any conference stages that don't have 50% diversity. And I won't. I don't care what they're paying me because I have a responsibility to my community. And I believe as leaders, they do too. So I don't want to support that mentality.
Right on.
Yeah,
That's very
that's
interesting.
great. Okay, so because you've been blessed with such great success in real estate, what advice would you give to others who are looking to obtain solid growth in their own business?
Yeah, I think first of all, I mean, we think it's tactical, and to a certain extent it is. Like
Yeah.
you need to be a master of your craft, right? Like I knew my listing presentation inside out and backwards, not so I could be robotic, so I could be the opposite. I could actually listen to my clients and connect with them and look at their body language and their tonality. I was all about them when I was there because I knew what I was doing on my side of things. And I think sometimes we resist that, but the other side of it is giving ourselves the courage to promote ourselves, right? Like when I got into the business, I just wanted to be able to, I had just gone through a separation, 2 kids under 5. And I was like, I just want to be able to pay my bills. I want to feel safe. I want to feel my kids are secure. So I gave myself permission to say, you're going to be a top producer. Like, this is what you can do. This is what you will do. And I'm only going to model people of that level of success. At the end of the day, I sold 41 homes, 44 homes my first year in real estate. And I
Wow.
didn't think I'd do that though. The point was just like, give yourself permission, promote yourself because nobody else is going to. Like if you're kind of like, I don't know if I can do it, you're already out of the game,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
It's all about your mindset, I guess, right?
Well, and
Is that a big thing for you?
yeah, I think when you're a solopreneur growing, I say it's 80-20. Like I agree with Tony Robbins, you're 80% mindset, 20% systems and processes. Once you start to get traction and you need maybe an administrator, you need some support, then I'd say it's 60-40. Because now if you're not putting the right systems in your business, you're going to get capped. And I
Right.
watch that all the time. Once you get up to what I call industry icons, like our teams, 50-50. Because if you don't have the right systems, think about it, you could have 20 people behind the scenes running processes. They're having problems every single day. Each one of those 20 people have 10 issues.
Right.
We see what happens.
Yeah.
Your team falls. So it shifts as we shift as leaders.
Yeah. Right. And what would you say drives you to get up every day and do the work that you've been doing in your industry, for your community?
Yeah.
What's like a number one, I guess, motivating factor for you?
I think there's always been something in me that feels I was born to do this work, which is, good and bad, because there's times where I've hidden behind it and I've been like, well, you can't have as much time in your personal life and you don't get these things because you have a purpose, and I hid behind it. But now I see it's just something that's always pulled me through. And now I kind of look at, I need to be my best because I have work to do here. And I believe I do, but I believe all people do. All of us have work to do here, right?
Yeah.
Like, whether it's soul work, mental work, community work, we all have work to do here. So I feel that to me, I have an ability to make an impact. And I'm a big believer that, You know, I have a story I tell in some of my keynotes, so I won't get into because it's too long, but I'm a big believer, like if you can walk with people during your hardest moments, when you walked alone, when you shouldn't have, right? When you were scared, if you can walk with them, then you change your past and together you change both of your futures, right?
Right.
So every time I do this, I feel like I'm going back and I'm like, I'm walking with you, or I'm walking with the people who didn't. And that's my whole thing. Like my book's like, I want you to feel like I'm walking with you, not above you, with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And what do you think are, or what are 3 character traits that you think have been most instrumental to the success of what you've been building, or to the growth that you hope to achieve?
Well, I hate using this word now because it's maybe cliche, but there's a documentary that released April 8th in Palm Springs, which is based on my life. Douglas M. Silverstein in Las Vegas, he's Emmy-winning director. He decided to do that, and he kept saying, like, the word relentless keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Like everyone we talk to around you is like, she's relentless. And I didn't like it, right? But then I wrote a book, Relentless to Rise. He called the documentary The Relentless One. But I will say, anyone I've ever worked with who's really all in it, in some ways they are relentless, and some people think it's bad, and I don't. It's like they're like, I know where I'm going. I might have to do a detour, I might have to do this, but I'm going there, and I have no doubt that I am going there.
Right.
And I have huge like respect for that, right? I have an affinity for that. So maybe yes, I am a little bit relentless because I think I have important work to do, and I need resources to do that work, right? It doesn't come by accident. Money is not a bad thing. You need resources. We also want to give back to the community, so I need money to give back, right? So I think one, being relentless. The second, I do believe in mastery. I believe in lifelong growth. The leaders who come to Summit or, you know, any big event we run that already know everything, they're capped. Like if I know everything, I'm scared, right?
Yeah.
If someone's saying I'm nothing to learn from someone else, that you're in a pretty bad place as a leader. Maybe you don't know it, but you are.
Right.
And the third, I'd say is energy. Like I work with energy. I'm an energy worker in some ways. And for me, everything is frequency. So it's like I set my biggest visions and goals and I download them at a high frequency. So I need to operate and go back there to get that inspiration, to get the vision, to be able to deliver it. So it's a flow thing. So I'm a big, like, I need to be in alignment with my higher energy, whatever that is for others. So yeah, being relentless, mastery, and frequency or energy, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
People have many words for it. Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is looking for a balance between their personal life and their work life?
I would say stop. You're never going to find it. It does not exist. I do not believe in balance. I think it's an ever-eluding thing that we sell because people think they want it. In my experience, high-performance people don't actually want balance. What they want is, I call it harmony. So high-performance people have an edge because they know who they are, they know what their strengths are, they know what their weaknesses are, and they know their values, which means, hey, I want to go to this summit, but my values are I'm not willing to lie, I'm not willing to cheat, I want to give back to the community. These are just examples. I need to be a good parent. They're going to have a different route with those values. If you take the time to really dive in and be like, what are my values, which are a unique fingerprint for everyone? Like all of you have had unique life experiences. If you went back and worked with like a life coach or, you know, a mentor, you'd probably find that how you did all those life experiences was very unique. They're consistent. Like there are similar values that played out. Maybe it was independence or financial wealth or security. There was something that drove you to do it the way you did. When you figure out what those things are, you say, okay, these are my priorities. I'm going to give my time, my money, my focus and attention to those things and create my harmony. So as long as I say yes to the things that matter to me, I can be in harmony, but they're never going to be balanced. Like in my high season, I work a lot. And then in my off season, I go hike Mount Kilimanjaro and everyone's like, how are you taking a month off? Well, because it's my off season and that's okay. Those are my values, right? And you have to be willing, just go, it's my recipe.
Yeah.
So it's more of a fusion instead of a balance. It's more of the two merged together.
Well, I don't even think it's 2. Like for me, it's probably 10.
It's the same,
Yeah.
Right? And for you, it's a different 10.
Right.
And it's like, how much time and when, how do I feel in alignment? That's what it's about. The harmony in my experience in high performance does not exist. Yeah. I've never seen it. I've worked with thousands of people.
Stop trying to find balance.
Right.
If you're a top performer, it's not balance. The word is harmony.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that word better.
Hearing you say that actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
it
it
just
does.
like clicked for me right then and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are 5 things that you need to thrive and succeed as a powerful woman?
Oh my gosh, 5 things as a powerful woman. You need you need so many things. I'm going to start with the one that we resist the most. I talk about this a lot because statistically, women in the entrepreneurial space and as business owners, we leverage at half the rate of men in the same space. Which, when we think about this, we also know statistically we do 3 times more of the work outside of our business space, which means not just cooking, cleaning, and housework, or taking care of children. It could be elderly parents. It could be a friend who's ill. It could be managing appointments and life and booking vacations, whatever it is. Right. We're doing 3 times more work in our personal space, but we're getting half the help in our professional space. And then we're saying, why is it harder? Why can't we get ahead? So one of the biggest things looking back, I even didn't do as well as I should have, is leverage. Most of us need, if you have kids, we need help at home in order to be able to go out there and do what we need to do. And men over the years it's very consistent. You need help at home. You can't be doing all this stuff and be your best there. But as women, a lot of the times my clients still try to be all things to all people, and you can't do it. So I think that is one. The second thing as a woman is just the ability to say no without feeling bad.
Right.
You can't, not everyone's going to like you. It's just part of it. The third thing is being able to honor, again, your values and your principles. Like, if you're in alignment with what you believe in, you already won. It doesn't matter what the outside world says. In the long run, you already won. The fourth one, show up and say yes. My dad always said that to me. He's like, Kate, they call me Kate. I'd go to these big exams and I'd think, oh my gosh, everyone studied more than me. I'm not going to get it. He goes, then I'd show up and half of them didn't even start studying and I almost didn't go. And he's like, life is so like that. We psych ourselves out about what we think other people are doing, and we're doing sometimes more because of it. Right. So just show up and say yes. And the fifth, like I said, give yourself permission to promote yourself. Nobody else is going to. Like, this idea that people are going to come along and be like, you're perfect for this. It's very rare. It's like a myth. You have to be like, I'm going to do this. I'm enough. I'm going to show up and nurture your inner world, your confidence. And that requires mentorship. I invest in a huge amount of coaching, energetic coaches, mentorship. Like, I don't mess around. If I'm going to write a book, I get expert help. If I'm going to do a podcast, I get expert help. And it's like, sometimes you get one. If you want to be world-class, you have to have world-class expertise. You don't have time to mess around as much. So work with what you got until you've got more, then work with that to get what you want. It's not work with what you want, what you have to get what you want. It's not like that. Work with what you have to get more, work with that to get what you want. So it's like, keep leveraging until you get there. It's not overnight.
That's a perfect answer.
Yeah. Do you have any fears? And if so, what are they? And how do you overcome them?
Sure. I mean, there's a story that circulated for a little bit online, and I don't know where it came from. And I say it's like that story that one day, whatever your beliefs are, spiritually, religious, it doesn't matter. But the story was in this, that, hey, one day you go to the gates of heaven, and whether you believe in that or not, and you meet who you could have been. And for me, I was like, oh yeah, I'm meeting myself. Like, this life for me is about ascension. Like, I want to do as much important work and grow myself into a place of grace so that I feel I've done everything that I possibly could to be of service, not to make money or have ego or wear designer clothes, to be of service. I'm very clear on that. So I have a big fear of getting distracted or burning myself out and not doing my most important work. So that gets me back on track. Yeah.
That's so perfect.
The answers are just spot on every time.
I know this is the first time that you and I have met, but the girls and I work together every day. Okay. Yeah. So like, we have conversations about this all the time. Yeah. It's like, what are we here for? We're not here for significance. We're here for service. Yeah. And I find that ever since that we've been growing the business with that perspective, it's led to so many doors that have been opening. And then you just, you're not so caught up on, me. You're more like, okay, what are we going to do to help others? Yeah. And that has been the biggest message that we've been trying to get out. The whole thing about confidence, I go on my Peloton in the morning and like one of my instructors, he's like, inhale confidence, exhale doubt, because you got to put on a brave face every single day. But if I'm being very honest, there's a lot of times where I come in and there's so many fears, like, okay, are the clients going to be happy? Like, what other problem are we going to have to solve today? Or are people going to show up, or are they not? Like, these things run through your mind constantly. And, just trying to navigate, how do you just stay on top of that? What I do now is I'll look at a big project that we just completed with such excellence, and I'll look at that, and then it'll put me right back on track. Like, wait a second, honey, like that's who we are. Don't forget that. And then everything just falls from that image. And then right away the energy goes back to, okay, everyone's in place. Everything's going as you planned. You got this. And then we start the day like that. So it sounds like we have a lot in common here. I can't wait for the summit in November. Is there anything that you would like our viewers to know and or expect? If you haven't got tickets, you still can.
Yeah, I mean, the summit is all about anybody who wants to step into further leadership, but it's a very unique atmosphere because it's a high percentage of really high achievers. And it's something you don't always get within a real estate conference because there's sometimes thousands of people, but they're learning and they're more growing. This is a lot of elite performers, which is really unique, but they also are open and they share, which is the feedback we get all the time that we're really happy about. But I think just, most of it, it's funny, I was thinking about it on the way here, so I'll share it. But to what you just said, I mean, I think the thing in life is like, as much as we have these great projects, the hard part is that we have things that don't go right? Or we have things that sideswipe us. Like I've had to, sell my prior business and start from scratch. And it's those moments that it's like, if you can take whatever the world does to you and you can turn it into something that's so positive that helps many other people over yourself, no one can mess with you. Like if you can do that, good luck. Nobody's going to be able to mess with you. And even if they try, you're not going to feel it. Like, think about it. Like, that's a beautiful alchemy to be like, hey, this project, not yours right now. I'm not projecting on you. But hey, this certain project didn't go perfectly, or somebody said something and we're worried about it. It's like, if I can take that experience and learn from it and make it so immensely bigger and good and positive, given what they did, like you're in a different place. Like you're going to grow from it and be stronger, even though you don't know. It's like that faith of anything that happens to me, I'm going to learn so much and create something positive that you're almost untouchable because it's not an outside game anymore.
Right. You're in control of how you react to it. Yeah. There's been times at ALT where, we thought this is not going to go as planned, But we somehow, and this is every single time, I want to knock on wood. No. We always pull it through. Yeah. Every single time. And we've been presented with some challenges. And that we just have, everyone I feel like understands the vision and what we're planning, and they're confident in what we're doing. Yeah. And because of that, because our foundation is so strong, it's like you can throw stuff at us and we're going to come out and we're going to do whatever we can to make you happy. And if it doesn't even go the way that we thought, we learn from it at least. Yeah. So that the next time we can do better. So it's a win-win no matter what.
Absolutely. And that's the mentality, right? That keeps us going. I love it. We have a lot of affinities. It's amazing to chat about.
Awesome. Well, that's the end of our episode 3 with Kathleen Black. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
It was so nice having you.
Thank you.